Yes, we are back. It's Shemry from the Advanced Lightworkers Discussion Group and Life Coaches Toolbox. And with me today is Shaman Jonathan. And we're going to be having a chat about intuition. So, to kick us off, Jono is going to give you a very, very, very brilliant insight about the fact that you already have intuition and you don't realize it. So, over to you.
Thank you. Intuition. Everyone thinks they don't have intuition because it's merely their imagination. People say they don't have intuition because they can't see things. They can only feel things. So as an example, I'll have people who say, I wish I could see auras like you do, in full color, full 3D. Because when I get to somebody, I feel uncomfortable or whatever. That's intuition. You might not be physically seeing it, but you're feeling it. And feeling is sometimes better than seeing.
And being on the flip side of Jono is one of the lucky people that does have the visual abilities. I'm more like you, where my abilities kind of developed over my lifetime. And for many years I had the same block. Because I couldn't see a picture, I wasn't having psychic abilities. And what I've learned over my life is that you pick up certain pictures. So as you have experiences, those experiences get stored in your body as pictures, as sounds, as smells, as tastes, as feelings, as senses of order and things being in their place. And over time, I learned something very powerful. It's that those feelings or concepts that would arrive were actually the visualizations that people were talking about. So when Jono and I went on a soul retrieval with me, Jono saw the things happening, but I just got little flashes. A lot of it was his voice guiding me through, and I was kind of getting a sense of what he was describing around me. But when I opened the door, there was just this information that all of a sudden arrived, and I didn't actually see a picture. And for the longest time, I also thought that meant I didn't have proper intuition. So did you ever do anything across your life to develop your intuition?
Most definitely. We're all born with intuition. It's a survival instinct in us. It gets knocked out of us when we're children, when we say, Mommy, look at the man standing over there. Ah, don't be silly, there's no man standing over there. So we block it off. So it's a trained skill. If you walking down the road and you smell this beautiful aroma of coffee, what's the first thing that comes into your mind?
A cup of coffee.
Or I'm thirsty.
Yes.
Or I don't like coffee. Or whatever.
Yes.
But it comes into your mind. So as you grow up, and as you said, certain smells, tastes, music, you hear a bit of music, you'll remember something. That's all intuition. There's no difference between imagination and intuition. That's a very difficult concept to understand.
But it's a concept that's worthwhile your time understanding, because once you start realizing that your imagination is actually the mechanism you're going to use for intuition, a whole new world opens up for you. And when that fell into place for me, one of the things that I did was, for a period of 3 years, I tested it every single day. And I was living in an apartment where the water tap was positioned directly over the plug in the bath. So my routine was, I used to put the plug in, I used to turn the bath on, and then I used to walk to my kitchen and put on the kettle to make tea. And as I was walking back to the bathroom, just before I walked in the door, I would stop and I would say, okay, has the plug jumped out or has it stayed in? And for a period of 3 years I did this, and I would say that 97% of the time I was right. One of the other patterns that I realized, which is a very, very important pattern, is that if I was emotionally upset, I was less likely to be right. And that brought something into very clear focus for me. Because why do we as spiritual teachers place so much importance on you spending time clearing out your emotions? It's because the mechanism of intuition and spirituality is your emotional system. And when that emotional system is clogged up with junk of past memories and generational patterns and karma and hate you're carrying for this person, or anger that you're carrying for this person, or doubt you're carrying because somebody said something to you, then you are not clear to receive the messages. But there was an even bigger question that came out of that time period for me, and that was, I started asking myself after a while, is it clairvoyance or is it manifestation? So when I was walking around back to the bathroom and I stopped and I said, okay, the plug is out or the plug is in, was that real because I'd seen it, because that was the reality? Or did it happen because I had chosen it? And at an even more advanced level, after 10 years on that question, the Holy Spirit came back and said to me, they are exactly the same thing.
Yeah.
So it doesn't matter at the end of the day. If your intuition says that your twin flame is coming back, it doesn't matter whether it's your imagination or your intuition. If you keep putting it out there, that's what you'll get. And that brings us back to an earlier video we did about the victim mentality. The victim mentality kills you when you keep putting the negative stuff out there. So, yes, it's your intuition. If you thought it, it exists. You can only think it if it already exists. Okay, and if you like the thought, keep putting it out there. As Mike Dooley from Tut always says, thoughts become things. Choose the good ones. It doesn't matter whether it comes from your imagination or your intuition. As long as it's a good thought, it is what you want and it is what makes you happy, then that is the thought you need to think. So, there'll be more coming from us. Unicorns out. Love you guys fiercely. See you on group and looking forward to hearing more questions from you.
Lots of love and blessings.